Okay. Okay, guys, highlighters. I'm just gonna go over quick things that you need to know. If it doesn't show up on the test, it may show up on the exam. It may show up on ACs. So there's a big difference between on 78, right? There's a difference between preventative. The name kind of says it all, right? There's preventative versus emergency repairs. So we do preventative maintenance to avoid expensive, costly emergency repairs. I can tell you this is a fact. You will pay more to replace your furnace when it's minus 40 than if you take your time and you're already like, you know what, it's getting old, I'm going to get it done in the summer. Because a lot of the HVAC guys, right, and gals, they are not as busy in the summer. So if you want one in minus 40, there's going to be a premium for you getting it replaced. So you want to maintain your stuff and keep it in proper working order. Preventative maintenance is small repairs and improvements to keep maintenance problems from becoming larger, right? That's important. And they will be more expensive. Avoid costly emergency repairs. If you get your roof done ahead of time, if you schedule it with a company, get quotes, guys. Get quotes that are reputable. Like get somebody to refer you to a company. It's like, yeah, I got my roof done with that company. They're really good. And then ask them to come out and to give you a quote. They have like software these days. They just go on Google Maps, like the software works with Google Maps, and Google Maps just takes a picture of your roof and they give you a quote in no time. Like they don't go on your roof anymore and measure it. They don't do that anymore. Discussion points, right? What are the consequences of not heating your home in the winter? What do you think would happen if you don't have heat in the winter, other than you being super cold? What would happen to your house? I know you just don't want to say it, right? It's super scary in a big group like this. What would happen to your pipes? They would freeze, they would burst. You would have a leak, right? Your toilets is ceramic. If you have ceramic and water freezing in the toilet, it would crack the ceramic and you'd have a massive mess, right? That too, right? Humidity in the house that would cause issues, yeah. Um, Drywall would crack, right? It's not made for outdoors, so yeah, you got to keep that in mind. What's the difference between cost of a scheduled furnace inspection and cleaning and the cost of the same services following an emergency call, right? So every couple of years, hire an HVAC. Let's write that down so that you're not thinking I'm making stuff up, right? Heating, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, right? So that's what this is HVAC. You'll see vans after today. You'll see vans driving around that are like HVAC services, right? You call them to inspect it. They will inspect the inside. They will make sure everything is in proper order. You don't have a surprise because usually your furnace fails when it's cold because it works so hard, and that's when things break. Your car breaks down on a road trip because that's when you're stressing it to the max, right? Um, there we go. So let's look at situations here. Okay. So situation there, preventative maintenance. The furnace is making a banging noise, dust is coming out of the vents. What should you do? You should schedule a furnace inspection and clean it. Did you know that your vents are super dirty? The vents in your house, if you have a vented system, you should get those vents clean every once in a while because there's like caked on dust and dirt and debris that you can't get out. So they have special equipment to get in there. They did our school this winter. Every night there was a truck out there with a big vacuum and guys with hoses in there. So 5 or 6, whenever I left, they would like work. They cleaned all of our ducting system, even in here, right? So it's probably a good one if you have allergies. Lots of that dust, like bacteria, grows in there, so it's kind of gross. Get it cleaned every couple of years. That's also why you want a good filter. You want your filters to be changed properly or on time to avoid that dust as well from building. Furnace inspection would cost you around 150, depends on who you call, right? And if there's any parts required, they would fix it on the spot. On the other hand, right? Minus 40, furnace breaks down, right? You have to contact HVAC company immediately. You cannot wait. You cannot afford to say, I'm going to call a bunch of people and see who gives me the best deal. You can't. You need to get on it right away. You should find, right, in the meantime, you should find a way to keep the house warm to prevent pipes from freezing, right? There's a basic $100 service call usually, and does not cover inspection, repairs, cleanings, and repairs can cost anywhere $200 to $1,000, right? And the furnace replacement cost could be $4,000, right? So you're looking at 100 plus maybe $1,000, right? So now it's an $1,100 emergency repair maybe that needs to be done, right? So this is just for them to come out, right? This is for the call, just for them to come out. They could come out, it's like, oh, there was just this wire was loose, right? And then it's $100. They won't do anything else, right? And they'll just fix it. Now it's running and off you go. Space heaters are great. Like if you have those small little plug-in heaters, if you have one in each corner of the house, in the meantime, it'll get you going, right? It'll keep you from going below zero in the house. You don't want that. Okay, let's keep going here. I have more examples. Maybe I'll let you read this on your own, but I have the same scenario on page 79, shingles in your roof, right? Preventative maintenance would be, you as a homeowner, you kind of call a reliable company. They may just say, hey, you might just have to fix this little spot in your roof. You replace it. You have different plans. You have time to get the best quote, and you go with the best price or maybe the best deal, right? Or the one that's more reputable. The reputation of the company is important. You have time to do that. That would still be preventative. And then emergency is when you have a leak, you need to get it fixed. Sometimes you have to come out and do a temporary patch. Just they put like tarp over the hole, right? Because you can't have water coming in the meantime. So that's that. I'm gonna keep going here. Thank you. Come with me. I'll just scan through some of these pages here. I think I showed you some of these shingles on 84. Go to 84, right? This right here, in my opinion, this would be preventative. Okay, I have to say this, I think this day and age, I have to say, like, especially because I'm recording this, don't go on the roof if you don't feel like you're qualified or safe, if it's safe to do so, right? Hire somebody to do it. But this can probably be fixed. Like somebody comes out and they have like special adhesive, tar or whatever. They put a bead down, they flap this closed, they seal it, and it's good for now, right? But they would definitely prevent major leaks or like water from coming in, which can be very costly. This would be preventative. This would be emergency replacement, right? At this point, you're like, hey, I need to replace my roof, right? There's no longer preventative there. you need to call. You need to call, make that call, and get it replaced. So this is on page 84. Let's keep going here. Let's look at 86, right? What could you have done to prevent it? Preventative 86. Preventative would be what? As easy as clean gutters regularly. Regularly. Okay? Clean them regularly, right? And then what would be an emergency repair? Emergency 86. Some of you are frantically skipping pages. Emergency repair would be replacing shingles, right? Replace roof, right? Insulation. Like if the insulation under your roof in the attic gets wet, you need to replace that. That's very costly, right? Etc. I will keep going. I'll just say etc. because you might have to replace these plywood sheets because they're all rotten, right? There's mold. So a little preventative maintenance prevents ice damming from occurring. All right, let's keep going. So I'm just going to scan. I just added this. This would be for me a preventative maintenance item right here on page 87. Roof raking. Right? Remove snow to prevent ice damming. Okay. This would be preventative maintenance too, right? Preventative. Let's write that on here. Preventative. On page 88. And I would expect you to use your own words there. Changing your filters regularly would prevent expensive repairs, right? It would extend the life of your furnace. Because if this is all clogged up, the furnace has to work harder to heat your home, right? It's just like if you close the air, it's like that thermostat, right, that I keep on changing is not gonna, it's gonna tell the furnace keep running because it's not hot enough. Keep running. So that's why you need to make sure that air is able to flow into the home and either heat or cool it properly. Okay, let's keep going. Did I talk about the AC? Cleaning the AC outside? I bet you I did, right? I bet you I did. Because I did that for my dad, I did that for me. My dad's was bad. Like I spent like hours cleaning that. I kept on spraying from the inside. I kept on spraying and a little like caked on dirt kept on coming out. And then I cleaned it all. I thought I was done. I did it one more time. It kept on happening, right? So he was very happy about that. So that could be preventative maintenance to extend the life of your air conditioner. Did I talk about the catch basin? I think the period was just ending when I talked about this. Install, here it is. This is on page 90. Install a catch basin. That would be preventative for sure on page 90. Underline that or circle it, but that would prevent you from having major flooding in your basement, which would mean your carpet, if it's wet, like if you have flooding, you might have to rip out the carpet because if you leave that moisture trapped under it, you will have mold. And so carpet is super expensive, guys. It could be easily 10 grand to do your whole basement, just carpet. So this if the water heater ever cracks, which happens all the time, sometimes it's just a small leak, sometimes it's like it just gushes out of it, and you need that catch basin, and this hose on the bottom here is important, otherwise it's pointless. This has to connect to some kind of drain, right? And the water will be caught and then out it goes into the drain. You should look if you have that, and if you know, tell your parents, hey, catch basin, I think it's $30 at Canadian Tire. Okay, let's say 40 with taxes. Let's say 100 with gas, right? Having to drive to the store. I'm just kidding. Gas is pretty ridiculous these days. Let's talk energy efficiency. It's very important, right? On page 92, let's go to 92. We use a lot of energy, which has a huge impact on the environment, right? As a homeowner, you pay for energy you use, and this is usually electricity and natural gas. Guys, that is hydro, by the way. If you ever talk about hydro or somebody talks about your hydro bill, it's gas and electricity. You get billed for both at the same time, same bill. Water is another essential service your house requires. Okay, so I will specifically talk electricity, gas, and water. Like, how can we save there? Okay. Let's see here. The main goal is to minimize the amount of electricity. You want to minimize the amount of electricity, gas, and water that is consumed. And it is good watch for both the environment and your wallet. Okay. The key term that I want you to use or know, right, is energy efficiency. Right? That is huge. Right? We're going to talk about, hey, how can you be more efficient? It's basically saying, how can you make the most with as little energy used as possible, right? That's efficiency. Upgrading your old equipment to high efficiency equipment is one of the best ways to reduce your, this is important here, keyword, upgrading your old equipment is the best way to reduce your electricity consumption. Look for, you've all seen these, right? Energy Star as well as HE, like high efficiency, like these here. Look for those symbols on appliances you're buying. So either on a toilet or on a washer and dryer. Oh, the bell is gonna go right away. Let me just say one thing here. Remember this, I will talk more about it tomorrow, but if I ask you, how can you reduce your energy bill? Don't tell me, turn off all the lights in your home. The province, they want to know what can you do so that it just saves on its own, right? Without you having to do anything. So we'll talk more tomorrow. No homework, yay. Maybe start reviewing for the test.